Hello, today's tutorial is going to focus on creating a repository for our students to work from. So I'm going to go up here to my organisation, SVC Sandbox, where at the moment I'm a member and I've got nobody else in there and no repositories. I'm going to start off by making a new repository, and I'm going to call this one, let's call it Fixing Errors. Okay. Now your repository name can't have spaces in. We can add a description. So this will test your ability to find and fix errors. Okay. We'll make it public so my pupils can view it. If I made it private, I'd have to invite those pupils individually. And I'm going to initialize it with a README and create my repository. So here we go. Now, the README is an important document. It's kind of like your index for a website. So if you've got the README, it will be displayed whenever this repository loads. Okay, and what we're going to do is we're going to edit that a little bit later on and make it a bit more fancy looking and kind of make it a bit more instructional for the pupils. So what I'm going to do first of all is I'm going to add a new file. And my new file I'm going to name dice.py, and I'm going to give it some content which I've copied from elsewhere. Now the idea behind this file is it's a piece of programming code that is supposed to roll a dice, but there's a number of errors in it. So for example, I mean, it's not really an error, but the description of the program's wrong. Maybe it's been adapted from a coin flip program. We've got misspellings, we've got missing brackets, we've got lots of little bits and bobs in here. There's a combination of syntax and runtime and logical errors in there as well. And the other thing I wanted to get from this task is the pupils being able to use functions correctly, passing data in and out, and see how they resolve this. At the moment this currently won't work. This function isn't called properly, the role variable isn't returned from this function. So there's a variety of things wrong. So I'm going to commit that new file. I could have added a comment, but I'm not going to bother. And then I'm going to go back to my repository Fixing Errors. So now I've got two files up here, dice.py, and I've got my README file, which is here. I'm going to click on my README file, and I'm going to edit that. And in here I can type in a document just as I would any other. I can add text to it and stuff. So just plain text is fine, that works fine, but I can also apply some formatting in a similar way to HTML using a language called Markdown, which some people might be familiar with from writing blogs and other such stuff. So let's just do a couple of things here. I'll put a link in the video to a really nice Markdown cheat sheet. But there's a few little things we can do. So I'm going to start off by just making this this hash symbol is like heading 1. It makes it really, really big. So I'm just going to call this task Fix Me. Okay, and let's just we'll leave it at that for the time being. And here we're going to say your task is to open the code called dice.py and fix the errors. It should, and I'm just going to continue writing this up now. So what I've done here is I've written a few little sort of argument or sort of properties that I want the code to exhibit. I've given a sample of the code below. There's a couple of things, other things I have done. So up here, originally I'd written the words dice.py like this. Okay. Now, what I wanted is I want to make that into a link. So it's a bit like HTML in the sense that I wrap up the bit of text that I want to turn into the link, and then I type in what I want it to link to. Now thinking about it, it might be the other way around, so actually let's just try something else here. Let's just say dice there. If we preview, then no, that's right. Okay, so this bit is what's being displayed, and that's the name of the file you're linking to. Other things we can do with Markdown is here, where I've said the program should be able to roll the dice or print the dice value independently of each other. What I found a few of my pupils did is they dismantled the functions out of the program so that they didn't have to deal with passing data back and forth. So I want the program to be able to roll or show dice or do both. So I'm going to emphasize this word here. Now I can use a little star symbol either side. If I preview that, that gives me, if I roll down, that gives me italics here. If I go back and I put a double star and preview, this is kind of showing me the things I've deleted as well, so we'll look at it finally in a moment. That should be giving me bold, but there's a slight issue here in that this is how I do bullet points, and I've not made that particularly clear, so let me just do something here to space these out. There we are, that should look a bit better now. There we are, so I've got bullet points and I've got all being bold, so I've got that sort of highlight going on there. And there's lots of things that I can do with Markdown. Something else that's really nice is where I've listed my code below, it's interpreted this, because it's got a hash symbol in front of it, where are we here, this bit is interpreted that as Markdown, so it thinks it's going to be a heading. What I can do is I can do like a code block. So if I use the sort of quote symbol here, and I do 3 of those, and then if I put the word Python, and at the end of my code, if I put 3 of those, then when I preview, what I should get is I've got this nice little inserted block of code. And when I commit this, it should take on Python formatting and do colour coding and stuff, which will look pretty. But then, you know, I'm pretty much done now. This is kind of all I want. I could add an image in and that kind of thing, but that's not too difficult. It's very similar syntax to how we do links, but that'll be on the Markdown cheat sheet. So once I'm happy with that, I'm going to click on commit changes, and now that's appeared, and you can see that we've got some nice formatting going on here, and that's my welcome page. If I go back to my repository, I've got the fix me title, I've got the comments, and I've got the code here. So that's that. That repository is now ready for your students to work with. Okay. So all you need to do now is share that with them.